In this review, we're looking back 19 years. It is back to 2005, and the model is of a Liebherr Fast-Erecting crane, and it's the 32TT. As we'll see, this is an unusual crane, and there are photos of it on the box. And the interesting aspect is that it has a telescopic jib. Turning the box around, we see a very small label, and the model is by NZG and it's model number 521.
Let's weigh it up.
So let's put the box on the weighbridge, and it comes in at £2 11 ounces, and that's about 1.22 kilograms. The packaging consists of the sleeve, and that encloses the usual pair of expanded polystyrene trays. There's an instruction sheet which we'll look at in a moment, and hopefully the trays are marked top and bottom. There's just a small piece of tape to cut, and when that's cut we can lift the lid and see what's inside. And there is the crane folded up. Here's the instruction sheet that comes with it, and it consists of a series of diagrams, and it takes you from transport mode through the erection up until the point at which the crane can be fully used. And a nice touch to help the owner of the model is that the instructions are also presented in 4 more languages. For this part of the review, we won't do the assembly, we'll just hook up the crane to a truck for transport mode. Firstly, you can see that if the truck has a loader crane at the back, it won't fit properly, but a normal dump truck with a towing hitch would work. The front axle consists of 2 separate parts, and it's all modelled in metal. And all of the wheels on the transport axles are nicely formed. Turning now to the model erected, and the undercarriage is metal with a simple screw jack on each leg. The 2 winches have extended axles for use in operating the model, and the slewing motor is also modelled. Again, nearly everything is metal. The counterweight blocks have all of the step irons modelled, and the blocks are coloured to represent concrete. They have the Liebherr name on each section. There's an operator's platform which is also all metal, and it has a textured floor. A high point of the detailing is the electrical cabinet, and it has first class, very sharp graphics. The pendants and the connectors are high quality, and there are some tiny metal pulleys as part of the complex and working erection system. At the front of the tower is a capacity board, and at the top of the tower the various parts are modelled accurately, and that includes the support wires having an equal tension. The telescoping winch is also modelled. The modelled trolley is more complex than usual because of the telescopic jib. The hook block is metal, and the concrete skip is also included with the model. It is also an all-metal part. The jib is modelled with lattice work on all 3 faces, and again there are more tiny pulleys for the telescoping system. So the model engineering is of a very high quality, and again you can see that at the end of the jib. The profile of the jib is also really good. It's very straight and realistic. The model can be operated with a key, and first up we'll try the main hoist winch, and it's really good that it's got a positive brake action. So you can raise and lower the hook as much as you like. The trolley is positioned along the jib by hand, and it moves smoothly, and the load on the hook block helps. But this crane is unusual because of the telescoping jib, and the trolley has to accommodate that. And inside the trolley are small spring clips, and these ensure that the trolley is always fully engaged. The great part of the model is that the telescoping jib is a working function, and it works very well. You operate it by turning the motor, and it's all got a very nice smooth action.
Let's weigh it up again.
When the model is fully erected, it weighs in at about £2 2 ounces, which is just under 1 kilogram.
Time for a dim check.
Let's get the tape measure out, and the maximum height to the top of the crane is about 21 inches or 54 centimetres, and we can measure it with the jib fully extended, and it's about 2 feet or 60 centimetres. We will now reverse the erection procedure for the crane and put it into a transport mode. And the first thing to do is to telescope the jib in fully and move the trolley to the end of the jib. We can then use the supplied key in the erection winch, and by doing that, the first thing that happens is that the telescopic tower begins lowering. During this process, the jib stays horizontal, so you could operate the crane at a lower height. Once the tower is lowered, there's a couple of stays to fit, and these hook on to the pendant connection. And these are used to maintain the geometry as the crane is lowered into its transport position. At this point, we'll take the counterweight off, and it's been modelled in 4 separate pieces, rather than every slab being a separate part. If we keep operating the winch, we can see that the crane begins to lower into the transport position. And really the model engineering is great because this works really well. Once it's all lowered and flattened, you can fit the transport axles, and there's a rear axle and a front axle. These get pinned to hold them into position, and the only issue is that these pins are slightly on the loose side, so they can easily drop out as you move the model. Here the axles have been fixed into position, and the next thing to do is to fold in the outriggers, and the outrigger pads can just be wound up. This is a simple screw action and it's easy to do. With the outriggers in, the model is in its transport mode. This model first appeared in 2005, and it is an outstanding example of crane model engineering. As usual for NZG, the metal content is very high, and the level of detail on the model compares favourably even to a current day model. It has a lot of flexibility in how you can display it, and it is no surprise that back in 2005, when the model was first reviewed, it was rated as excellent.